Can you hear me, Travis? Travis, can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep. Guess we're set to go then.
Travis, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Rosalie.
Hey.
Whoa. Ah!
Turn this off.
Ooh, I'll go that way.
Who's Bubba? Somebody. Hey, Bubba.
It's not Clark. There's Clark. Rosalie, I have to say how surprised I was this week when my boss sent me a little video and you were
Oh,
the star of the video.
I was not the star, believe me.
Well, you had a great title though.
What was it? Oh, it was, I think I was the senior, token senior.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were the senior citizen expert or the expert.
Oh, yeah, that's
senior
what I
citizen.
was. Yeah.
You were the expert.
I
yeah.
called myself a token senior. I still have no idea why I was there.
I was just like, hey,
I
thanks
really
for that. I don't know what Rosalie was doing, but yeah,
I don't
awesome.
know. You know,
Yeah,
in fact, I just asked to be taken off a committee that I'm on with United Way. I don't know why I'm there either. And I get asked to do things and they always sound cool. And the real reason I did that impact thing was just because it was put on by the Disruptors League, and anything called a Disruptors League, I am going to join. But,
Right.
and I learned a ton. I don't know if they'll ever use me for anything. I think it would be helpful in community work, what I learned, but we'll see. I have a new respect for the Area Agency on Aging, which every time I say that, I say I hate their name.
I know.
But the campus, the campus looks fabulous. And if we can actually pull off a virtual campus, and if that actually works, that would be amazing.
That's what I'm tasked with. That's my new mission.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, because I'm the campus coordinator. So everything campus falls to me.
Okay, well,
Yay.
that's a big one, because what I kept trying to bring into the mix too was, we were tasked, what time is it? Yeah. We were tasked with, active seniors during the pandemic and isolation and all that good stuff. And, I kept trying to bring in the perspective of, okay, well, I've got everything I need here. I can go buy whatever I need. And I've got Wi-Fi and, I'm connected. So, but, not everybody has that. And especially in Van Buren County and Berrien County that I don't know as well, but, low income, you're not comparing apples to apples here at all. And
Correct.
that grant has to come through first, where they can actually supply the tablets in a hotspot before any of that can happen. Because then it would just be, once again, making that divide even wider. But yeah, It was fun working on it. And I really enjoyed meeting Teresa. She's so beautiful and so smart.
She
So
is. She's awesome.
yeah.
She's awesome. So fun.
Yeah. So good stuff, interesting stuff.
Yeah, very good.
And the facilitator of that program, Paulo, this was all out of Toronto, and I have relatives in Toronto. So as soon as I can get to Toronto again, I would love to go for coffee with him, because the whole setup of the way they think I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Someday we'll get to travel again.
Oh yeah.
Five weeks.
Why do you say 5 weeks? Oh, for you, you've already gotten a shot?
Got a shot today. I get one in 3 weeks. Got to wait 2 weeks after that. Now, that doesn't mean it's unfettered. It just helps, but it doesn't make it perfect. I'm certainly not going to run around without a mask.
Woo!
But, no, yeah. But yeah, I got really, really, really lucky.
Yeah. Well, I've never ever said out loud that, I'm not old enough, but I don't hit that 65 thing. So, and I'm not in healthcare. So, and neither is Walt. So we're kind of we're farther down on the list, unless my RA can count for something. For once, I'll be playing up my RA.
I was further down the list too, but I guess that just the opportunity came up. They said, sign up now if you want to. So I did,
Oh, heck yeah.
So area agency, we get it on the list, trying to make appointments, and there are no appointments. So I'm going to be right there with you, Rosalie.
Yeah.
Just be hanging out till whenever.
Yeah.
5 and up, or is it just over 65? Which is it?
I'm surprised George is in a new Zoom office and not in the basement or he moved.
Now he's in his bedroom.
Yeah, our basement is getting painted right now.
Okay, I wondered. That's your normal Zoom room.
Yeah. I don't know what my dog's gonna do. She's gonna have problems.
She will. She normally visits every meeting, which is awesome.
I know. I love that. I sat in at the DDA meeting yesterday, and Chris's kids were poking around and getting in his laugh and stuff like that. I loved it.
I'm assuming that you can see me. Maybe not. No.
Bob Gable.
Yeah, I'm Bob Gable. And I guess I live in the Bluffs. And I understand that we have an item that's on the agenda tonight for the Planning Commission. Everybody's nodding. I'm taking it that's correct.
Yes, sir.
I'm not the most technologically literate person, and I know this is the Planning Commission meeting, but I'm here to represent the Bluffs, and Brad Adamson's going to do the talking, I believe.
I guess I just want to know who Bubba is.
He's not speaking up, is he?
Well, I've had a nickname. I've had a nickname ever since I was born, and most of my family calls me that. And you will never hear it. No, it did not come with me to Michigan.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Rosalie, this is Jerry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Jerry from the Valor Score meetings.
Oh, cool. Hey, Jerry.
So hello. I'm going to mute myself now and listen.
Okay, cool. We'll see you soon or hear you soon.
Okay.
And I see Tim and I see Clark. Hi, guys. Haven't seen you guys in a long time. I'm assuming that you could hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes.
I hear you.
Okay, good. Good deal.
Everybody,
Just
before we get started, Mike Neese is having some trouble logging in. Brad, he said that when he tries to log in, it says that the host has another meeting in progress.
Yeah, tell him to exit out of that one and then go back to the link and it'll pop up.
Okay.
I had the same issue. I couldn't put in the numbers directly. Had to use the link.
Yeah, use the link. Okay.
Weird. When we first started, you couldn't use the link. You had to type in the numbers, and now it's the opposite way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to love Zoom meetings, right?
Now I'm so
Yep.
paranoid. I get there too early and, you know.
All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Just a reminder, if you're not on this planning commission, if you're not one of the planning commissioners, make sure you have your mic muted. And when we go for public comment, then I'll look for you to unmute your mic. As always, if you're using your video, I can see your hand go up and call on you. So it's a little touchy for those I can't see on video. So you'll have to be patient and bust in on a conversation, okay? And if you do, I think, Brad, you have the capability to mute them out, right? Or Travis, one of you guys.
I should, yes. Travis and I should have that ability.
Okay. Because if we're going to keep doing these meetings going forward on Zoom, we really got to have some decorum.
Yes, I can stop both their mic and their video.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that said, Travis, you have anything else before we take the roll? As
Nope.
an
Ready to
announcement?
go. Mike is just, he was rebooting his computer, giving that a try, but I told him to just use the link and not actually go to Zoom. So he should be here in a second.
Okay, well, we have quorum, so we can start off. All right, Marcia, I see you're here. Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Clark Gruber,
Here.
Larry Heinig,
Here.
Todd Heinrich, Michael Neese, Amy Nichols,
Here,
Rosalie Placati,
Here.
George Sleeper,
Here.
Janice Varney,
Here.
Tim Stegman.
Here. All right, next up, approval of the agenda.
Rosalie, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for January 7th, 2021.
George Sleeper, I second.
Okay, it's been moved by Rosalie and supported by George to approve the agenda. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, Marcia, please call the roll.
Varney,
Yes.
Gruber,
Yes,
Heinig.
Yes,
Is Michael on yet? Nichols,
I don't
Yes.
see him.
Placati,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Stegman.
Yes. Next item, approval of the minutes from December 3rd, 2020.
Rosalie, I'll approve the, make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 3rd, 2020.
Amy, I second.
Okay, it's been moved by Rosalie, supported by Amy to approve the December 3rd, 2020 meeting minutes. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Marcia, please call the roll.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Varney,
Yes.
Gruber,
yes,
Heinig,
yes,
Neese, Nichols,
Yes,
Placati,
Yes.
Stegman.
Yes. Next item, item 5, interested citizens in the audience will be heard on items that are not included on this agenda. Is there anybody here that wants to speak to the planning commission about an item that is not on this agenda? If so, please now unmute and identify yourself. Seeing nobody come forward for interested citizens in the audience that be heard on items not on the agenda, we'll move on to old business, of which there is none. And following that, we'll move into new business, which is item 6, 12 Streamwood Drive, seawall site plan application reconsideration. And who's leading this one? Is it Brad, Travis, or
Brad, I'm Bob Gable and Brad will be the spokesperson.
Travis?
Yep. So, so this is a revisiting of the item from last month related to 12 Streamwood, the shoreline protection project. I think we went over it fairly well last month. What I'm going to do is turn it over to Nick Curcio to allow him to review the memo that he sent that's included in this packet. And then Brad and I can try to answer any other questions after that.
Sure. So as you probably saw, there's 2 memos in your packet materials. The first one being the staff memo. That's not the one I'm going to speak about, at least at first. I'm going to be referring to a second memo that's on attorney letterhead. It's later, I believe it's page 13 of your packet is where it starts. Basically why this item is coming back to the Planning Commission after the last meeting. Staff, which I was not in attendance at, staff asked me to take a look at the record, to watch the video, and to comment on this item to see if there were any potential legal problems with the record as it was made at the last meeting. In reviewing the meeting minutes and the video, it was unclear to me exactly what the basis of the Planning Commission's decision to deny was. which is itself legally problematic. If the decision were to be appealed, probably the first question that first the ZBA, if it's appealed to the ZBA, or then the circuit court would ask is, what is the basis for the planning commission's decision? Is it adequately stated in the record in a manner that can be reviewed? It's called, is it judicially reviewable decision? Because it's, no specific ordinance standards were really cited in the denial itself. It's not clear to me that the decision could survive that kind of initial test, which means if appealed, there's a fairly good chance it would be remanded back to the Planning Commission for additional proceedings. Beyond that, I also just, it doesn't look like the site plan standards were discussed very clearly in the Planning Commission's decision. So because though, just the procedural aspects make this decision potentially subject to challenge, it's staff recommendation after consulting with me to ask the Planning Commission to make a motion to reconsider this action, not necessarily to change the ultimate decision. That's something that we'll get into later as we dig into the other staff report, but just simply to kind of beef up the record and explain further what the basis for the decision is, so that if it is challenged one way or the other, we'll have a good record to rely on in court or in the ZBA, depending on where it would go from here. So if the Planning Commission would like to follow staff's recommendation to do a reconsideration hearing at tonight's meeting, we do have proposed motion language. I think both in my memo as well as in the staff memo. I think, hold on just a second. Yes, that's on the very first page of the staff memo. Page 10 of the packet has proposed motion language. If someone would like to make a motion to reconsider, they could make that motion, and then it would require either a majority of the full membership of the Planning Commission or a 2/3 vote of the members present, whichever one is of those two requirements is lower in order to pass. So it's a slightly higher standard than what's normally required under Robert's rules or your bylaws. But that would be the procedure to follow to do that. And then if that motion is made, then we can talk about, is made and passed, we can talk about the ordinance standards for site plans and whether or not this particular application meets those standards. With that, I'll turn it back over to Travis or to members of the commission if you want to consider making a motion to that effect. And any member of the Planning Commission can make that motion regardless of whether you were in the majority or minority and voting on this item at the last meeting.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Nick or Travis? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Clark Gruber. I'll make a motion to reconsider the Planning Commission's December 3rd decision regarding the proposed shore protection structure at 12 Streamwood Drive and to conduct further proceedings regarding the application.
Rosalie, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Clark and supported by Rosalie to reconsider a prior motion. Is there any other discussion?
Well, Mr. Chair, this is Rosalie. I really appreciated the work that Nick put into this and staff reminding me of what needs to be satisfied in regard to this review and the standards. I also appreciated the comments from the coastal resiliency folks in regard to what the purpose of that was and how it will and should reflect future maybe ordinances or site plan reviews. So I did appreciate the work that y'all put into this. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. Any other commissioners have any comments or items? Okay, from here, we'll just take a brief break on this item. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak about this item? All right, seeing none. We have a motion and a second. Is any other discussion? With that, Marcia, oh, please make a note, Todd Heinrich has joined us. And then please call the roll. Maybe Marcia is,
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
because I didn't want you to hear me typing. Sorry.
all right.
Patty,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Barney,
Yes.
Gruber,
Yes.
Heinig,
Yes.
Heinrich.
Yes.
Has Michael Neese joined us?
He has not.
Thank you. Nichols,
Yes.
Barney. I'm sorry, Stegman.
Yes. Okay. Next up, item 7,
Well,
social district discussion topic.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
would you like to hold the additional proceedings at tonight's meeting or schedule it for a future meeting? You could theoretically do it tonight.
I don't know. What do you guys want to do?
I say we go ahead and do it tonight. I was prepared with to consider and go forward.
Okay. Well, let's
Agreed.
Okay,
Agreed.
let's do that then. You want to lead us off, Travis?
Yep. So obviously, as you probably saw in the packet, and I think this is something probably we should have provided you the first time. But you can see the map that was prepared by Ryan Bosher that illustrates the areas right around this property that's applying right now that are already armored or protected. Additionally, there's also a full listing of the projects that have been approved by the Planning Commission. And as well, we've also included, broken up out of the north side and the south side of the city, all of the portions of the shoreline that are already protected. Additionally, you've got the excerpt from the zoning code pertaining to site plan approval and the standards that the Planning Commission is looking at when looking to approve one of these. The photographs of the currently protected areas was more or less just for reference, just so that you all had a visual to go off of. Those are the items that we tried to provide to you, so hopefully give you some better context. I'm hoping it makes your decision easier, and again, we'll try to make sure in the future that we provide you with this sort of information on when these sorts of items come up again. Additionally, you've got a representative here tonight, a representative of the applicant, and he's available to answer any other questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions?
Actually, Mr. Chair, I do. It's Rosalie. In regard to the map, as it was shown, what kind of protective measures we already have in place, and where the bluffs are, north of that is just a seawall, and then just south of that, there is a gap until you get into the township that has another seawall. So it's not quite surrounded by protection the way they want to do it. I just noticed that, and that's one of the things I guess I should have paid attention to originally too. That I'll speak for myself in my energy of trying to incorporate what the coastal resiliency was telling us, and what effects one property has to the next one. I could have considered that, I think, a little bit closer. So I know that is very much changing my mind and as we move forward.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, Heinig here.
Yes, Larry.
I would direct the commission's attention to item number 4 on the site review standards. There's no sense in my reading the whole thing, but there are statements in there about enhancements to the property being done and such that it doesn't change the character, the use, or the value of property and abutting lands and waters. Certainly, in my view, the construction of this seawall would very definitely change the public access to the surrounding waters. And that takes us back to the conversation that's been going on for hundreds of years over the public right and the public's right to access to the water and the private right to the use of the private property. And historically in the US, the public right has had dominance. That's the reason that I voted the way that I did the last time we considered it, and the reason that I still lean toward that vote.
Okay. Who else had their hand up? Was it George? Janice, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. It says that the new revetment shall not be constructed further than 15 feet lakeward of the water line of the lake. My question is informational primarily. How is that water line determined during, our high water times?
Do we have an engineer on here that came with you, Bob? Sorry, I
Mr.
guess.
Gable, are you there?
Well, Janice is the best that I know at what they do is the engineers determine what they call the median average high water mark, which is determined between 2 levels over a period of time. And that's the level that they do their measurements at. And that's where they make their measurement from. But again, I'm not an engineer. That seems to be the mark that they have used in the past on previous applications. That seems to be what the EGLE, the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy also look at.
Marcia, make note, Michael Neese was finally able to join us. All right. Who else? Any other questions, comments?
I have a comment. This is Todd Heinrich. As I mentioned in our last meeting, it doesn't surprise me that we're back here. I've attended lots of meetings like this on the other side where I was representing a landowner who wanted to develop their waterfront, and I always held my tongue. And because I knew then, and now it's not clear, it's inarguable that hardening a bluff like this is bad in the long run for the homeowner, for their neighbors, for the community, and for the environment. And it's tough to get a letter from our own attorney that says, you can't do that. But that doesn't mean that we can't try and we can't make it uncomfortable for people who are trying to do this. It's a short-term fix, and it's all it's doing is pushing a bigger problem into the future. We either suffer the uncomfortableness of starting a legal battle now, or we can 10 or 20 years from now, our kids will be looking at us going, why did you do that? Why did you harden or let people, individual landowners, harden the entire shoreline of Lake Michigan and and make all of the beaches on the south side of South Haven go away, because that's what we're doing. So I will be voting no on this.
Rosalie?
Can I just have another
and then
question?
Gord.
Okay, just another question. So those maps, the photographs were startling with all the revetments that we already have. And the shore's messed up already, but may I assume correctly that once the water goes back down levels, that people will be able to walk along the lake? You know, I always hear Janice Varney's in my ears about walkability along the lake. And there isn't any now, whether it's the revetments or just simply no beach. But can I assume correctly that looking at all those photos, then when the water starts to lower, starts to recede, the beach can come up. We will be able to walk along the lake again? I mean, or do those revetments just kill it completely? I guess that's my question for anybody.
Nick, you probably have a little more knowledge on the legal aspect from the state law, but I believe that the state of Michigan does permit persons to traverse shorelines as long as they don't encroach into property a certain distance. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct. I think she's actually asking a more practical question as to whether the revetments are built in such a way that when the water level recedes, that there'll be sand. I think that they are supposed to be. Again, I'm not an engineer, but that's been my understanding of kind of what Eagle's approval process is for these. But perhaps if there is an engineer on the call that can speak to that better. Right. I think from a legal perspective, you could walk over the revetment right now, but that's just, you can't physically do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was one of my primary concerns. And again, I can only go with the science that's been presented to me at this point. And the science was very clear in the reports that we received that the sand will not come back, that the revetments pushes the bar farther out to the lake to the point the sand is lost. And the only way the sand comes back is if we physically remove the revetments that were put in place there. Now, there's certainly room to argue that, but that was one of my primary considerations. Now, and I'm sorry I got here late, 3 different computers, and I finally got here. But catching up with you just a little bit, I want to just lay out where I've been since the last meeting. I thought the staff did an excellent job of putting together the background. Nick, I fully understand the legal precedents, and I have softened my point of view to this point. I am convinced in long-term land usage that revetments are a very bad idea. We have 60% of our lakeshore covered with them now. If anything positive has happened to this, it's the fine work that Brad got done for us. I'm taking a look at what it looks like on the south side. And at this point, if 83% of our beach is already unwalkable, and the only portion of the south side of our beach, that's on the south side, not the north side. And if the only portion is the 17% that makes up the South Beach, we may not be able to address that in this immediate concern. I got to tell you, I do feel like if we've done this for everybody else, how are we going to punish the bluffs at this point? But it should definitely impact our long-term land use planning and development on the lake. 10 years ago, when these things were being considered, they didn't have the benefit of the science that we have now. We can't look back and say they made a bad decision. But I'm convinced if they had the science that they have today, we would not have granted those building permits in the first place. But we can't do anything about that. So I've softened my point, and I intend to vote yes, strictly to allow the bluffs not being the sole exception. I think they're the last ones, the last piece of land we're going to have to consider this for on the south side. I do have grave concerns long term. I think it hurts us economically as stewards. I mentioned to a couple of you, I didn't want to go through this packet. Putting those pictures up of that beach is not going to help our tourism. I think it's going to continue to push the people that come to town to the north side. You can't walk the beach on the south side. So I think in the long term, we need to take a look at that. But again, for the short term, my vote's yes this week.
Clark? Yeah, unmute.
There we go. I thought I sounded great. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be voting for this project again, mostly from the fact that as planning commissioners, it's our job to look at it against the ordinances in place. It doesn't violate those, so we need to go forward. I do think from a long-term perspective, council needs to come up with different plans and different ordinances for us to look at. And hopefully the long-term solution will be something that's different for the lakeshore. And we're learning more and more every day, and hopefully from the historical stuff that we've done and for the future. But I'm definitely look at it from what we need to do from planning. And I so appreciate all the information that was put together by staff. Thank you.
Anybody else? We'll go George, then Amy, then Janice.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. I do also want to thank the staff. I think that information that we have in our packet tonight is a lot, gives a lot of good information. And when I compare the north side to the south side, I see opportunities on the north side that we can prevent structures being built too close to the shoreline, such that in the future there would be a need for shoreline protection. And I think that's where the direction that we need to go, is prevent structures from getting built in the first place, as opposed to trying to shore them up when the lake starts to encroach on them. But I agree with what Clark was saying. I don't see any basis for not approving it. I did also, Larry, I was wondering what that section is that you were looking at. Is there a certain page number on our packet that you were referring to? Because I wasn't sure where that was at.
Page 79. It's just the excerpt of the ordinance standards, and I think he was referring to standard 4.
Yeah, George, it's section 1404 of the ordinance.
Yeah, I didn't have the page number, but it's section 1404, item number 4.
Is there anything else, George?
No, that's it.
Okay, Amy?
I too would like to, first of all, thank staff. That was really helpful. I'm not changing the way I voted because I voted yes last time. I'm going to vote yes this time because, as I've said before, we didn't really have a precedence to say no. So it was nice to see some, backup and data on all of that. But I also agree we need to look at this a lot harder, and council needs to look at this a lot harder and task us with what can we do to prevent this from having to make these decisions again, and how to protect what we have left. I think we've got to make that a full mandate in the coming years. But for now, we make the decision with the information we have in front of us. So I'll be voting yes.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Janice?
I just want to say those pictures really depicted what's going on, and they do speak 1,000 words. And it's actually quite a mess down in that area as you look at it from the lakeside. I really think that this was a valuable conversation and exercise that we've gone through, because I think it speaks to the problem that we need to address, not just in the long term, but as we're going through the process of learning more about it. and getting some ideas from the coastal resiliency folks on how we can improve our standards. That so when we are making these decisions, we have those standards in which to compare what our decision is about. So I appreciate that the standards were included, and I understand that we need to meet each one. And you know, that's the other thing that was mentioned in regard to what that does to the surrounding area and the vegetation and what that looks like. That was a concern of mine as well, Larry. So if nothing else, I think sooner rather than later, looking at this, because looking at that shoreline really stopped me in my tracks, I'll tell you.
Anybody else? All right.
Before we go forward, I just want to confirm, I see Brad Adamson on here. I just want to confirm he is one of the representatives from one of the representatives of the applicant. I just want to see if he's on and able to comment.
Hey, Travis, thanks. My name is Brad Adamson with Laser Property Management. We represent the Bluffs. I apologize for two things. First of all, I was having troubles getting into the meeting, so I didn't hear what's transpired till now. And then second of all, I want to apologize on our behalf for not having representation at the last meeting. I think that obviously it doesn't look good on any of us, and wasn't our intention from the beginning. So I'll be quiet for now unless anybody has questions for me.
All right, was there anybody that's not on the commission that's listening in that has a comment about this agenda item?
I don't, excuse me, I'm Bob Gable. I don't know if you can see me or not. I don't have a comment about the agenda item. Brad is our management company, and he's doing the presentation or representing us. I'm here tonight just as a Bluffs resident. I live at 19 Streamwood Drive, and because the Bluffs are being discussed and this is our deal, that's why I'm here.
Okay, anybody else? Seeing no additional comments, anybody on the commission wish to put forth a motion? And I believe, Nick, you provided some sample language on page, what was it?
That the sample language was for the motion that's already been made, the motion to
Oh,
reconsider.
to reconsider.
Right. So staff
Okay.
did not give a recommended motion on this item itself. If a motion is to be made to deny the application again, we would recommend that you specifically cite one of the standards on at least one of the standards on page 79 and say why that's not met. If you wish to approve the item, you can make a motion to approve for the reasons provided in the staff report. If you read the staff's analysis, basically explains that staff believes each of the standards to be met. So that I recommend one of those two types of motions, and could coach you through one if you'd like assistance.
Yeah, and I would recommend the latter. It'd be a motion to approve because we don't want to start doing negative motions. A motion could still fail, but it should always be a positive motion to approve.
Well, Chairman, this is Clark. I can try this again. I would make a motion to approve the site plan for the shoreline protection of number 12 Steamwood Drive. For the reasons as depicted in the staff report.
Okay. Is there support?
I support. Nice.
Mike Neese supported. Okay, I'm gonna open it up for some further discussion. I'll just caution if you're on the planning commission and you intend to vote no on this one, now would be the appropriate time for you to give your reason or reasons why you are going to vote no. And then also it's open to any other discussion. Todd, I see you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'm going to be voting no. And I want to talk to the applicants directly to Bob and Brad. The reason I'm voting no is because this, based on decades of experience, and even a layman can look at the shoreline, just look up and down the shoreline. The only places there are not sandbars, the things to protect your property, are where people have built revetments. When you build this, there will be no possibility that sandbars will exist. And so the full force of the waves of Lake Michigan will come bashing in on your bluff, and it's going to make things worse. So it appears as though this motion is going to pass tonight. But I would guess I would advise you that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And the reason I'll be not voting on it has to do, and Mr. Curcio probably won't like this, has to do with some requirements, specifically item Y, number 9, in the Eagle permit language. I don't know if they've gotten your Eagle permit yet. The final placement of the materials shall be on site such that the sand will remain part of the natural littoral processes of the shoreline. And that, from the Eagle standpoint, won't be met. So I'm going to use an Eagle standard to give the reason why I'm voting no.
Okay, thank you, Todd.
That's all.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Larry.
as already noted, I will be voting no for the reason that this construction does not meet item number 4 of section 1404.
Okay. Anybody else?
Tim, can I take a moment and maybe comment to some of those, or give a response to some of those comments?
Yeah, in a moment, Brad, if you would. I'm trying to see who's commenting on this item and anybody else? Janice, I see your mic's unmuted. Did you have another one or you just left it?
Just left it.
Okay. All right, I'll give you a minute, Brad.
Yeah, real quick. I just wanted to speak on the lateral movement of the sand from, our experience with our engineers and professionals that we've engaged on these projects. That sand moves generally north to south. Obviously, with the pier head sticking out, I think that's a real, stop for any sand nourishment to the south end of those piers. Furthermore, I mean, as you see when you look along the lakeshore there, there's been a lot of armament taking place. Specific to this location, there is armor stone on both north and south adjacent properties. So this is, at this point, the only susceptible area in that region. So obviously, I do understand and sympathize with, the natural nourishment of sand to the system. But at what expense should that come, I guess would be my response there.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and it's supported. Rosalie, Marcia, if you have a second, could you please read the motion back to us?
If I can find it, hold on.
Okay. Sorry to put you on the spot like that. I didn't write it down though.
Okay, I'm sorry. Motion
It's
by
okay.
Gruber, to approve the site plan for shoreline protection of number 12 Streamwood Drive for the reasons as depicted in the staff report.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, we'll call the, what? No further discussion. I'm gonna call the question and, Marcia, if you'd call the roll.
Neese,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Placati,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Varney,
Yes.
Gruber,
Yes.
Heinig,
No.
Heinrich,
No.
Stegman,
Yes. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, could I make a statement, please?
who's talking?
Heineck.
Oh, yeah, Larry, go ahead.
As I thought about this evening, it made no difference to me which way this went as far as what I have to say. I think what we have learned, should have learned here, is that we need to get to work on revisions to our ordinance. Many of us are unhappy with the way it's worded right now. I don't think we need to wait for city council to tell us what to do. We're the ones that have wrestled with it to this point. We need to be suggesting wording to them. I believe we should ask staff to come back with some wording that addresses those concerns that have been expressed over the last couple of meetings that we can discuss and talk about and forward something to council for their consideration within the next 3 months.
Would you like an ad hoc committee, Larry?
Whatever method you think would work, Mr. Chairman.
Well, if you're willing, I'd see you'd probably be a good chair for that, and we could put a couple additional people to help you look at that language.
I am willing.
Okay. Are there two people that would like to serve on that ad hoc committee? Mike and Todd? Okay. All right. Is there anybody else that's interested? If you are, I'll do pick a number thing, and because we can only have 3 on the committee. It can't be 4. All right, seeing none, I'll set an ad hoc committee for Larry, Mike, and Todd. And when would you guys like to meet?
Well, let's let staff
Pick a
pick the
day.
time. Yeah,
Okay.
when they can get some background, work around and be ready to meet with us.
All right, we'll circle back to that later this, tomorrow's Friday, sometime early next week. Travis will get in touch with you guys and put some date and time together, okay?
And
Thank you.
And Chairman, there's another meeting of Resilient Shoreline too coming up, which would be helpful in our decision-making and understanding as well.
Agreed. Okay, so we've got an ad hoc committee. What do you want to call your committee, Larry? You need to
Ad
catch
hoc
it.
is, ad hoc is fine.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Social district discussion topic. And I think Suzanne Brock's here to talk about this, correct, Travis?
Yep. So this is an item that was brought to the DDA yesterday for their consideration and discussion. Sue Brock is here tonight as the DDA director to give the Planning Commission a walkthrough of what they're potentially looking at and to seek some feedback from commissioners on if this is an item that they'd like to explore further, and then to provide suggestions to that effect. So I'll turn it over to Sue to present on this one.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Travis, and thank you to the Planning Commission. Yes, in December, the city received a request from a local business requesting whether we would establish a social district in South Haven. So I did a little bit of digging and investigating because I didn't even know what that was. And then we presented it to the DDA yesterday to get some feedback and see how they feel about it, because this social district would fall within the DDA district. So I want to give tonight a little bit of an introduction of what this is to the commission. So I'll read a few notes and then I'll be able to answer some questions if I can. So on July 1st of 2020, Governor Whitmer signed House Bill 5781 into law, creating the social district permit. This permit would allow a governing body of a local government unit to designate a social district within its jurisdiction. Social districts were signed into law as a way to provide more outdoor options for bars and restaurants that would have been negatively affected by COVID. It is a means to draw people to the business district, which opens up more opportunities for retail and other businesses. Currently, there are 20 social districts established in the 14 counties in Michigan. So a social district has to have a common area in that. That's one of the requirements when you're applying for this permit. In the common area, there needs to have at least 2 establishments that are qualified licensees that can sell alcohol. They have to be adjacent to this common area, and they can sell alcohol. They have to apply for a license as well, and they can sell alcohol where customers can purchase alcohol from their establishment and then leave their establishment to go shop, in the downtown area and walk in that common area. So common areas can be made up of sidewalks, alleys. Some cities and towns have little park areas that they have designated as their common area, and it has to all fall within the social district. It is not, so if you look at the map that I kind of put in the packet, it's just a tentative map, just to kind of give you an idea of what some other towns and cities are doing. And it's really kind of outlining the DDA district a little bit. And then the common area that would be designated would be really Phoenix and Center Street within that social district. So to kind of give you a better idea, let's say Black River Tavern would be one of the establishment, and Harbor Brewing would be another one. So they would get a lot after the city gets their social district permit and they get licensed. They would then apply for their license to be able to have alcohol sold and removed from their establishment. So then I could go into Harbor Brewing and order myself a beer, and it has to be in a designated cup that's clearly marked with social districting. It can't be in any other kind of cup or holder. And then I can leave Harbor Brewing, and maybe I want to stop over to Urban Found, or I'm with my husband, let's just say, and he's got the beer, and he's drinking it, and I'm going into Harbor Found to do some shopping. So that's kind of like the concept of what that is as far as what's being allowed in that. But keep in mind that the social district areas are clearly marked. It's clearly marked. You have to have that there. And then also the establishments, there has to be at least 2 establishments on board, because if they're not, it's not flying. That's part of the permit process. When you do the permit, you have to you have to show a map, you have to show a common area, you have to talk about who's going to come on board. And then the cups that are going to be used, they have to be also clearly marked as well. So yesterday, we went ahead and presented it. It's just kind of introducing it to the DDA because it clearly falls within the DDA district. And, you know, they were very much on board and approved moving forward because they know how our businesses downtown have been hit hard during COVID. And anything that we can help to promote some traffic and something new, they are willing to kind of see this move forward. We know, though, that it takes many people to bless this project. We definitely would love to have the blessing from DDA, of course. Police is key because we want to make sure, like, who is going to help us enforce anything or just have a presence downtown. Planning Commission, merchants, local merchants, absolutely. And then, of course, it has to be approved by the City Council. So what I wanted to do tonight was to kind of give you an overview of what this would be and maybe hopefully answer some questions. I also want to include that this House bill really only goes to 2024. And that means that local governments, though, they don't have to go to 2024. They can just do a yearly basis. But talking to other towns and cities, because I reached out to a few of them, they really feel that this House bill will be extended indefinitely and then it will go way beyond 2024. Did I say 2024? So I'm here to answer any questions as they come up. Hopefully I can answer them. I did do a little bit of digging and I did provide a list of the other communities that are already participating in that. And this whole process, it's not an overnight thing. It takes about 4 to 5 months from the beginning to the end because everybody who already has this established in their communities, they started back in August when this bill was passed. And that's how long it has taken just to put it through because, like I said, it needs to be blessed. And it also needs to take time for all the permits.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. Before I have any of the commissioners ask any questions, I guess my question is this. My interpretation, aside from restaurant to-go food, is that this is a single serve to-go alcohol to be consumed on public right-of-way. Is that fair statement in a synopsis?
I would say yes. I would say yes, or definitely yes. But let's say I was even, or let's just say Clementine's wants to be an establishment to get that. I might want to order something from Clementine's and take it with a alcohol beverage with me, and then I can eat it on the sidewalk or walk around as I'm shopping and eating and drinking, supposedly. But it's a single serving, yes.
But this is primarily alcohol sales generated type of district, correct?
Mm-hmm.
There's really no other benefit other than being able to consume alcohol in public right away.
Well, I think the idea of this all was not just to consume alcohol. It was to really offer something new to the community and to really drive people to come and visit the downtown area and do some shopping as well.
Okay. All right. That was my question. Raise your hand and I'll call on you. Mike.
Hi, Suzanne. Thanks for coming. I got just a couple questions here.
Okay.
Originally, I thought the concept was to help our businesses recover from the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I am concerned the length of the permit, if you will. Although I can well imagine our town maybe being able to handle this during the winter months as we're getting through the pandemic. I have real concerns about whether we're going to be able to handle it during our summer months with the difficulty we have in enforcing things already. And will the plan include extra police officers and extra funding for the police to be able to patrol? And my second concern was having done a little research myself as well. I don't know why, but calling a sidewalk a common area is frightening to me. I know Allegan has a set aside parcel. I think he used Tecumseh as an example. They have a set aside parcel, which I think in terms of being able to patrol, keep it clean, all the things like that. And then I guess my last concern I'd tee up for is take a look back at the discussions we had on marijuana downtown. I think you're going to have plenty of public hearings, and I'm going to guess the public sentiment's not going to be very strong for this.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Well, I really want to kind of, some of the things that you brought up were some of the concerns when I first heard this too. Like I was thinking as far as like who's going to, like, it might be okay in the winter, right? I mean, you don't see a lot of traffic down there, and maybe that would help encourage it, but what comes in the summer when it's really, really busy? And then how do we police that, or how do we just make sure that everybody is following the rules on that? So because this is so new, and most communities who have adopted this or established this, they just did it in August, right? So they're really going through the winter months, which really to help them through COVID. However, that was one of my questions to the city of Allegan, was to say, how do you see that moving forward, like through the summer months, you know, like, I just wonder, and they're very excited. They said they've had full support across the board. And they said they're very excited to see what summer brings. So when I discussed it with DDA as well, I think their feeling was that people who break the rules are going to break the rules no matter what, and that we shouldn't halt the process. It doesn't mean, just because we're investigating it, moving forward, the process does not mean that it's going to be happening. It's just that we're kind of moving forward to seeing what would it cost? What would the police say? How do the merchants feel? You're right. Do we have where we have the, focus groups or whatever to come in and talk about it, and then after all that's said and done, does it say, okay, looking at everything, we're not going to do it, right? I think right now it's just introducing it and seeing how everybody feels, all these different groups, how everybody feels about it.
And please don't take my comments as opposition.
No. I've been back and forth on this.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. I just think it's going to be a whole lot of things to consider. There's two other issues that popped up. I mean, I practically speaking, I play a lot of golf. It's against the law to bring alcohol onto a golf course, but I can tell you 60% of the golfers bring their own alcohol.
Yeah.
Those cups are going to be filled with people bringing their own alcohol. It happens. And the second thing is, are we going to make sure that we have proper public restrooms? I've had a couple of the restaurant owners, I don't know if they're expressing this publicly to you guys, but concerned about their restrooms becoming the public restrooms for the drinking on the sidewalks.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because I think everything that you're mentioning is what was some of my thoughts when I was talking to some of the cities and towns, and that was being on the DDA. I know restrooms is a big issue, right? And that was my thought. I thought, well, what happens about the restrooms? Like, especially during the winter months when we only have the restroom that's opened up by the skating rink, right? So the comment that was given to me is that it would have to be an agreement. Let's say Black River Tavern agrees to be one of those establishments to sell alcohol so people can leave. They'd have to get the license. They'd also have to agree that their restroom in their facility or business would be open for anybody that has to go to the bathroom. So it's almost like, if you want to do this, then you have to take on some additional responsibility, I suppose.
Yeah, and I would assume you'd have to alert the retail owners that people are going to be asking to use their restrooms as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, they would say like no restrooms allowed, right?
Exactly.
Okay, Rosalie.
Yeah, hi again. I just saw you yesterday. I sat in at your
Rosalie.
DA meeting because I was very interested in this and hearing about the process. Obviously I echo a lot of the things that Mike said, but I just want to add two things. It always surprises me when we take a look at these things that we don't start with what our police chief thinks. and that she's brought on later in the process. I think that that's very, very important because she's in charge of the enforcement. She's in charge of not having minors drink or over intoxicated people. So that always just surprises me. So I really wish we could get her in this, or at least her staff in this as soon as possible for their very valuable opinion. The second thing, and I'll direct this to George, I directed it yesterday to Chris Campbell. You know, until we start working on our mission and vision for this city, we will not have something to use for direction. So I can only encourage that priority actually becomes a priority. I know these things are difficult during Zoom and not being able to meet in person, but this to me illustrates the need for a strong mission and vision of who we want to be as a city. Again, agreeing with Mike about enforcement and agreeing that everybody drinks in this town anyways. And I think this would just add to it. Where I'm at, I'm always sad that this is all via Zoom because I fully intended to start going to meetings with a red Solo cup. Because what the heck, the whole city walks around with a red Solo. And actually, at our viewpoint, they don't even bother anymore. They've got wine glasses, scotch glasses now. It doesn't even matter. But I would love to hear what Natalie and her team has to say about this. And I think that's integral to move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rosalie. I agree with you. I think the police is very important. Unfortunately, Natalie was unavailable to meet, for personal reasons. So she's just gotten back with us, which is really, really great. And it just is a timing thing, right? So the year started off and DDA was the first meeting out there and Planning Commission was the next one, and definitely on my list, it's the police and then it's the DASH. And it's just so many, to introduce and talk to this about. But one thing that really stands out is when you talk about the mission and the vision statement, I think I agree with you. I think it's a good idea if we did have that established. That would help guide us or govern us to like what we really want in our community. So for instance, if something is presented, you could always fall back and say, is this within our mission and vision, right? So, and if it isn't, then that's an easy to say, no, we're not going to do it. Or yes, we're all on board, right? So I think that that's a really great step to have. And I'm not sure what the next step would be to get that established. But I think that's a good point that you made.
Who else? Larry, then Clark.
It seems to me we're opening up some long-term problems to solve a short-term problem. If it's going to take us 4 to 5 months to get all the permits in place and licenses issued, by then most of this COVID is going to be behind us. Our restaurants and bars are going to be operating pretty much business as usual. Those that are still able to operate, those that aren't able to operate are going to be gone, whether this goes forward or not. I don't see it coming to an end. And I know that's still possible. The state may leave the cutoff there. I don't see them doing that. The city could stop it. I don't see that happening. And I look back to my first experience in New Orleans 1 week before Mardi Gras, and I was just appalled at the number of people staggering down the street, slopping the beer out of their cups, walking into the next restaurant and the next bar to buy some more. I sure would not like to see that in the town where I live. And I fear that we're going to see that if this thing goes forward.
Thank you so much for sharing your feedback and opinion on that. This is all valuable information for me. I'm just collecting it, right? I'm the collector, so it's all good information.
Clark?
Yeah, I was looking at this. I'm definitely in support. I think it's a good, a unique thing to see. I do have a lot of the same issues with regards to enforcement, but I think, you know, our role would be part of the input, putting together how something like this would look, and then getting the additional input and allowing both the council to look at this and approve and see how they're going to work with Natalie and her team. I went to Natalie and her team first. Rosalie got it right. There's a lot going on with that. I've been to other communities, whether it's New Orleans, I've been there. I've been to Key West. I've been to Madison, Wisconsin, where, you know, it's 180 degrees from both of those little communities. And it's pretty relaxed. It's pretty just kind of a normal thing for someone to have a picnic that way. That being said, I think council would have the opportunity to put sunset clauses or annual approvals to something like this to see how it would go over a certain period of time, and being able to potentially, you know, expand it. It's a great little map. I think it's a really good place to start and to give us a visual. So that's kind of where I would stand on it. So this would be something I would support. I think it's 100%. The reason is the alcohol, as Mike had suggested, because today I can get any food I want from any restaurant and walk down to our any spot here and eat outside. Nothing prevents me from doing that. In fact, we do that on a regular basis without COVID. The unique thing would be the opportunity to have an adult beverage. So definitely would see how I'd like to see this go forward. At the same time, then council and staff would have a pretty heavy lift to think if they could pull it off or not, and then make a decision not to.
Thank you so much, Clark.
Janice?
Yes, I'd like to reiterate what Rosalie said about looking at our mission and vision for the city, because we received a letter from one of the businesses downtown asking us to look at the balance of what we have: retail, restaurants, bars, etc. And also, I know during the summer in particular, this has become quite a family town. You see kids all over with their parents. It's really a beautiful sight. And our streets are small. I mean, they're narrow, and you have families walking down the streets. So I think, I was thinking also, if I had a business, would I allow a beverage coming in, several beverages, there's more and more people that would have them? And how do you patrol or monitor that? But I'm sure you will be talking with the businesses about that. And I also appreciate, Suzanne, that you're doing this survey and you're going around to the various boards and units that would be impacted by this. I think it's a great start to collect information like you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janice. Yeah, the businesses, like in some of the other communities, the businesses that do allow you to bring something in, they actually have a sticker in their window that says. Now, how that's been policed, it's yet to find out.
Amy, then George, then Mike.
Awesome. Thank you again, Suzanne, for coming and answering questions, because that was my first question was, how can you take one from another? I mean, moving alcohol from one place to another is kind of a no-no in the alcohol license world. So thank you for that. Yes, I agree. We probably should have started with the police. And I would love to know her opinion on it. My personal opinion is I think we've got to really try to support these businesses downtown the very best we can. And this is a very strange time. And so we maybe have to do things a little bit differently, a little more uniquely than we would have before. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that you could say after the first year, if this wasn't working, you're not obligated, right?
Correct.
For any of this? Okay.
Correct.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, who was after Amy? Was it George? Yeah.
Also, thank you to Suzanne. Some of the questions I had, so for one, I agree with Rosalie and Janice about having a mission statement for the city. But I think whatever we do, mission statement wise, we're always going to want to support our downtown merchants, especially if they are in need. Now, I think there's a way this could be done, and it could be done right. But I think we also would need to address all the concerns of making sure that people don't get carried away. And there's been a lot of good comments on that. One thing that came to my mind was, trying to keep it within the bounds of the area that's considered the common area. And like, for example, you've got Dykeman Park there. Are you going to run into a problem because you're taking alcohol maybe onto Dykeman Park, where normally alcohol is not allowed on a city park? Also, I didn't know if you had thought about some of the restaurants that are along the Black River and whether or not they would be included in this. It would seem like they're close enough that might they might also like to be included in that area also. And I can see people, if it were me, if it was a nice evening out and the sun was setting, I'd want to take my adult beverage down and look at the sunset, but I don't know if I'd be able to do that necessarily. And I don't know if we could even extend it down toward the pier or not. It looks to me like, looking at the package, that this was done just via a resolution and not necessarily with ordinance. And I don't know if I think Nick is still on there. If that is correct, we wouldn't need to do anything with our ordinances or anything like that. This could all be done with a resolution and done via the state law. And that was my only question and comment.
Yes, I believe that's correct as to the last question. I think a resolution is sufficient from the LCC's perspective.
Thank you so much, Nick, and thanks so much, George. The map that I kind of mapped out, like I said, it was just a tentative map. I was just kind of playing around with some of the area, but I know that I was just trying to think of some of the businesses that are kind of located in that DDA district area. And originally I had it going even across the bridge, and then I kind of backed it up and put it out, because the idea is not to buy a beverage from, let's say, Harbor Brewing and walk down to the beach. The idea is to be able to buy a beer from Harbor Brewing and still shop in the downtown area. It's like drawing. I want to draw the people to the downtown area, just as our farm market needs to complement the downtown area. I mean, because the last thing we want to do, and I went up north, up near the UP, and I realized it's kind of a bigger area up there, wider span. But I went into a community, and it was such a cute community and a beautiful, beautiful landscape, but there were many, many, many empty buildings, and it was so sad to see. So I think it's true, we need to support our local downtown businesses in as much as we can. And so I think the whole purpose of this, I know some may disagree and say, well, it's just to drink alcohol on the streets, and that could be a problem too. But it's really, I think the whole idea was to help support those who have really had a negative effect from COVID. And who knows what the future is going to be. I mean, we're hopeful that we're going to get through this and things will open up, but we don't know. We really don't know what it is. And then maybe to help them through that, and then drive business downtown. And that's all I kind of want to say on that matter. I can keep on going and going and going if I needed to.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, pardon my naivety here on city laws, but is there any possibility of increase of generating revenue to offset some of what are going to be increased costs? Any way you look at it, we're going to have more trash containers. There's going to be increased cost. Is there any way that the participants in the program, can we get revenue from them to help offset the cost? I don't know whether that's a tax, whatever it is.
Right, almost like, because you figure that the establishments that are, they're not only getting their permit, but are they doing some kind of other kind of, I guess, incentive or whatever to pay for that?
Well,
Maybe it's something. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we certainly don't want to we don't want to extend them the opportunity to make more revenue and then take it away from them. But on the other hand, there's got to be some partnership here too. You can't put the burden of increasing cost on the residents of the city just to help the businesses.
No.
So there's got to be some there. The second issue was on the mission and vision. Let's not forget we have a master plan, folks, and the master plan calls out pretty well all kinds of markers that we should be meeting. I know later on we're going to talk about the activity we did this year, and we need to start thinking results instead of activity, so we can measure this against whether will it advance the goals of our master plan. So I'm not against the vision and the goals. I've been pushing that for years. And two other very quick things. It's more than just the mission and vision. We also, from a tourism, need to be concerned with the brand the city establishes, what we're known for here. Again, I heard Jan say, and I agree, the last few years, I've seen families begin to come back. We want to make sure we keep this, I don't know. That's not for me to decide. That's for the marketers to decide what the brand message we want to send out, what coming here is going to mean, what's your experience going to be. And the last thing is just a practical thing. I think this is a really good place for this planning commission to do site visits. I'm teasing, folks. Let's go check these other communities
That's what
out.
I said. I said, I need a lot of field trips out there. I was
And I don't
hoping
even
that
drink.
Kate would-
So there you go.
I know. I was planning on going to one, but I didn't get a chance to over the holidays just to see, I went home and told my husband, I said, hey, we got to take some field trips out there. We got to go hit some places. But I think, Mike, one of the things, and I think that's why I really brought it up to the DDA too, is because somewhere along the line, maybe some of those additional costs would hit the DDA budget. So that's why, I wanted definitely to have their blessing because they're always trying to come up with ideas to how to benefit the downtown area.
Sure. Thank you.
Are there any other commissioner comments before I open it up to the public at large? Rosalie?
Yeah, sorry. I know something that was mentioned yesterday, Sue, was that if there was a beer tent somewhere else in the city, it would shut down the opportunity for restaurants then to offer this opportunity. And I just want to, having worked all the festivals now in this town, those beer tents are critical to those festivities. So I just want to, if that's something that eventually comes to fruition, then that needs to be talked about, because that really is how they make their money to bring in the music. So, and that creates its own little dynamic, doesn't it? Because our downtown bars and restaurants are not happy with the festivals and their beer tents. So right off the bat, you've got a little bit of a, an issue. So let's not forget that in all these conversations.
Yep. Good point, Rosalie. I forgot to mention that. So I think it was the city of Allegan, and I don't know if this is part of the licensing or if this is just something that the city adopted, but they said during their festival days or during the, like if they have a beer tent, like let's say an organization has a beer tent, it's a fundraiser or something, then those establishments who are licensed to sell that, they can't do it on that day. It's not allowed.
Okay, is there anybody that's logged in here that wishes to speak? Public at large? I don't see any mics being unmuted, so I assume the answer is no.
Hello.
Oh, someone.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Mary Hosley. I reside at 726 North Shore Drive. a relatively new resident of South Haven, but a Michigander. And I was just curious with enforcement purposes as people are walking around with these cups. There's a couple things that came to my mind. One is, what is preventing them from filling up their cup with beverage that they have in their own vehicle? So that kind of defeats the purpose. I'm just being devil's advocate. The other one is, if the area is extended such that they could walk down to the pier, what's the liability to the city of selling alcohol, allowing people consuming alcohol, walking on a pier and falling in? And how are you going to enforce alcohol laws on the beach when you allow these cups out and about? So those are just off the top of my head.
All good questions. As far as I'm concerned, I don't feel that if you were to adopt this or establish this in the community, you would not extend this social district beyond kind of what I roughly mapped out. Because don't forget, in order for you to have a social district, you have to have a common area within that actually, that's the whole purpose of it. So you just can't map out an area and say, oh, we're going to let alcohol roam around in this area. It really has to be designated where and that's why I kind of pulled back. I had it going over the bridge, and then I pulled it back because when you go over the bridge, you do have establishments that sell it, but what businesses do you have that they can benefit from it? Because that's the whole purpose of it as well. So I kind of pulled that back. And like I said, if it does go through, it could even be a smaller area. It doesn't even have to be this large. It could even be smaller on that. And as far as I understand with people filling up their cup, that is definitely could be a concern. But I like some of the comments that came from the DDA is that people, and I'm not saying this excuses anything, but people do, like Rosalie said, people walk around with their solo cups, right? And what they're going to do, they're going to do regardless. So.
Okay, anybody else that's sitting at large? Anybody other than the commission that wishes to speak? Okay, seeing none, I'll go back to the commission. Suzanne, I don't think the commission can say, well, other than Clark, he was definitely on board. I think until we actually see some language in something a little more particular as to what yourself and the particular businesses that are directly going to benefit from this are requesting, I don't think this commission can say, no, we're not interested, or yes, we are interested. I mean, I appreciate you giving us a heads up on the path you're going down, but I'd definitely say leaving this meeting, this group is neither endorsing or not endorsing it. We're going to need to see the particulars.
Okay, thank you so much, Tim. I get the feeling too, a strong feeling from this planning commission that the next step really needs to contact the police and see what Natalie has to say about it. So definitely she's on my next list. And I appreciate all your time just listening and, adding some comments and questions. It's really helpful for me moving forward. But I feel that communication makes and breaks everything. So I think that it's always a good idea to give a heads up of what some ideas are out there. It doesn't mean it's going to be adopted or established. It's just I wanted you to be aware, and I appreciate your comments on that as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, item 8 is the Yurt Village discussion topic. Now, in reviewing this one, I see on the agenda packet, there's a resident that's been identified as having a particular interest in this item, but he also isn't ready to discuss it for what he's thinking about it. I wanted to keep it on here though, because let's just say at large, regardless of who's identified on the agenda, with the green movement and living off the grid movement, sooner or later, you knew this was going to come to the planning commission. And these type of structures are not specifically spelled out for use or construction within the city limits. And you know as well as I do, we're on the we've adopted the Michigan Building Code, and there's some general language in there that maybe or maybe not these type of structures could apply. So before anybody really starts going down the road of spending money on the whole process of development, I was just wondering what kind of thoughts you guys have, and if we need to really start to look at developing some language to put into our ordinance, or whether this is the type of structure that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, a yurt is what, based in the Mongol tribal herdsman, and it's a temporary structure. It's by no means a permanent structure. Then you're going to require them to, like all other homes in South Haven, to hook into the sewer system, because that also kind of defeats the green movement, where they have the compost toilets and most of those out in the woods somewhere. You know, you're going to allow wood stoves to be used in them, or they're going to have to get Michigan gas. I've got a 2-page list, but that's where I'm going to leave it, because you get the idea of what I'm saying. So do you guys want to look into this more, or are these structures just incompatible with what we have on the books already? And Clark.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of good-looking people on Instagram, so I know all about yurts. I'm just gonna say, I think it's a great, you know, it sounds like a great project. I just don't think that's something within the city we have the space or ability to implement. So I don't see how this plan could necessarily go forward unless I see really some overall reason why. But I think they are pretty amazing temporary type structures. They can be made to appear mostly semi-permanent, but no, I think it's a temporary structure. That's it.
Michael?
I think too, and Tim, your list was great. I think you're right on, but I think the other thing we have to consider is, you know, we're zoning and we're land use. And I think the first thing we got to start with is the neighbors. This would definitely affect the character of the neighborhood, and I think they should have the primary voice.
Anybody else? George?
Yeah, I looked at this basically as an opportunity to see if there's some developments out there that are being used elsewhere that our current ordinances would not allow, but maybe those kind of developments would be beneficial to the city, irrespective of this particular development. That is, when I read through this, the staff report on this, my thought was, and maybe it's not going to be this development, maybe there's going to be another development coming down the line that is going to be beneficial, but because our ordinances are worded based on an idea of 20 years ago, that we're missing out on opportunities because our ideas aren't expanded enough to really incorporate everything that might be out there that we could maybe look at permitting in the city. So yeah, I was looking more from a generic standpoint, because, you know, I could see this maybe fitting into the area or the classification of a resort, but, you know, and if you classified whatever structure is being built as a cottage, it might fit, but I don't know if that would work or not. So that was my thought. And I don't know, it probably would take more research to try to figure out what is out there that maybe we should be looking at.
We might need to be able to allow yurts in the common areas so you can drink alcohol in them. You want to stay out of the weather, you know?
Then we would have to have sewer hookups.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I saw Todd's hand went up and then Janice.
Yeah, I looked at this and I looked around the internet, tried to find something that was comparable. Most of them are out in low density development areas. I mean, where they've got hundreds of acres. You know, it's a chicken or the egg sort of thing. Do we encourage them to develop a site plan, see what it looks like, you know, and answer some of the basic questions about public utilities, water, sewer, you know, what are the paths, emergency vehicles? You know, it's a real a lot of work for them to develop, but even a preliminary site plan. So, and I don't know, I guess I wouldn't encourage them to do that. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Janice?
Yeah, I've stayed in yurts and just like Todd said, they're usually out. They're not incorporated within like a neighborhood, and that's what this sort of would be. Also, you know, if you look at our master plan, we really have to focus on middle income housing and look at where there's available spots for that in our community. So as far as priority goes, I'm kind of on the middle income housing side, and I love the yurts. I'd stay in them. I think they're great, but I think they probably are best served outside the city.
Amy?
I agree with Janice. I think the yurts are a great idea. They're cool. I just think the location is wrong. You know, we need to worry more about housing, and a yurt doesn't lend itself to year-round housing here. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, I looked up a couple yurt manufacturers and average low to middle of the road pricing's about $30,000 for a yurt. And knowing what our utility hookup costs are, which is between 15 and 20,000, your minimum $50,000 per yurt if you're to put it up as a residence. So I don't know if that's considered low income or not. Anything else? All right, so that's the step off point. If we were to have a request for these type of structures, at least everybody's kind of familiar with what the subject matter is, and you can do additional research between now and such time as that item might come up. Was there any person public at large that wish to speak about yurts and the possibility of those being added to the housing list in South Haven?
Hi, yes, this is Mary Hasley again at 726 North Shore Drive. My property is not that far from the proposed location. So thank you, Mr. Heinrich, for raising the comment about getting in, or was it Mr. Neese? I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly who, about getting input from neighbors. So even though there has been continual comment about these being temporary structure, the report indicates that they're permanent. One thing that's not clear is how many occupants they would have. My search online indicated there could be anywhere from 2 to 8 people, and the size could be anywhere from 12 feet to 30 feet. Looking online at some of the larger yurts that held more people, 1,600, 1,300 square feet. I'm not sure what the diameter would be. The topography of the land that's proposed has gullies and streams that dump into or end up at Black River, so you need to worry about runoff. The high-end camping, glamour camping, glamping tends to have flushable toilets, running water, so those are all high utilities. If you're looking at housing development, the zoning for this is single family dwelling or duplex. So I certainly hope that's taken into account and looked at the planning of the area, and also look at the impact and the effect, negative or positive, most likely negative, on the residential area that it abuts onto or egresses onto, and the increased use of carts that are already probably operated inconsistently with what's allowed in the city. And I definitely hope that ordinances are enforced in all aspects of living if development is allowed on this property. Thank you.
Is that it? Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, this is Jerry. And I live at the end of,
your first and last name and where do you live?
okay, I'm Jerry Durkee. I live at 243 Webster Avenue, the end of Webster. I live in sight of this property. I would put the total burden on the developer. Is this a true development or is this a pipe dream? I know this person. I think it's a pipe dream. I don't think the city wants to go here. I would make him follow all the city ordinances, come up with a site plan, because I don't believe he can do it. And I appreciate the fact you're going to consider the neighbors before you make a decision. That's all I have to say for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No, I will say, Brad, you wrote up some items here regarding the master plan, and obviously, like I said at the beginning, we'd have to look at our ordinance and make adjustments if we were to allow yurt or yurt type structures. And I just want to remind this planning commission that the think green mentality is raging hard, and there may be more of these coming, and not just for a larger site. There may be an empty lot or two in town. You might get a request for this in the near future. So we're going to have to look at this somewhat to figure out what we're going to request. That way we're consistent across the board. And can you hear me? I just got my internet was unstable for some reason.
I can still hear you, Tim.
Okay. All right. Okay, very good. Thank you, Marcia. Any other comments on this? Where we should go from here? Or we just wait till we get an official request?
Tim, I don't know if Brad or Travis, if they could weigh in on whether or not that we help them out with this agenda item or not, or I mean, did we meet the intent of what they had hoped for with our discussion, I guess, with this agenda item?
Yes, basically, you all hit it on the head. It wasn't being brought to the commission tonight as a plan proposal. Mr. Ashen, who did approach the city, he is not here to speak about a potential project. He has not asked to submit a potential project yet. So the intent was not to provide any information or any background on his true intentions of what he's planning on doing. What I identified when he did come into City Hall, Travis and I sat down with him and spoke with him and gathered his ideas. And going through the zoning ordinance, we realized that whether or not we feel that this particular person should or should not construct something like this in the city, presently, right now, as it stands, nothing like this or similar to it can ever be constructed in the city because it is not legally defined in our ordinance. So if for some reason if this applicant or this person chooses to apply and come before the commission and propose something, or whether it is somebody down the road 5 years from now at another location in the city, we would be met with the same challenge of should the planning commission consider this something reasonable to either alter or amend an existing definition in the ordinance or come up with a new definition or ordinance altogether for this type of proposal. So that was our primary goal for tonight. And I think you all kind of did that, discussing that and just seeing that, is this something worthwhile to talk about in the future? Or should, you wait to see if this person indeed does come before the commission with something and an idea to do something?
Yes, so it'd be, does this commission want to be proactive to look ahead, or do you want to be reactive and wait till an actual request for a yurt or yurt-like structure comes before we look at it?
I'd like to be reactive and work on some of these other items that we've got to work on.
Yeah, I agree with Clark. I think there's time should be spent in having us discuss our priorities for what we should be looking at a long term. We've got so much stuff stacking up here, and we can't be proactive on everything. We certainly got coastal resilience at the top of the list as of tonight too. So.
Okay, well, you could always load your golf cart up with your yurt to come get the alcohol in the common area. All right, let's move on. I think that's enough for the yurt topic. The 2020 annual report for the Planning Commission. And who's going to give that? Is it Brad or Travis? Travis? Okay, take it away, Travis.
So, yep, this is the annual report that is required by the Michigan Planning Enabling Act. We bring this report to both the Planning Commission and then the City Council to be received. I'm hoping all of you got a chance to take a look at it. It just, I think, gives a pretty good detailed review of the items that you've considered this year and the items that you've taken action on. I think it does a good job of giving an idea of what the focus areas were during this past year and maybe gives you some idea of where we're headed in 2021. So just to go through very quickly, just a summary. During the calendar year 2020, you received 4 applications for special land use permits. Those 4 were approved. You received 15 applications for site plan review. 13 of those were approved, 1 was denied, and then 1 was a preliminary review. And so no action was taken on that one. You had 9 proposals for zoning ordinance text amendments. 8 of those were approved. 1 was postponed for further discussion. And you had 2 applications for PUD master deed amendments, and both of those were approved. Now, 1 of those approvals was essentially a rescinding of a previously approved amendment. So that was a little bit of a weird one, but looking forward, obviously, I think a couple of folks already mentioned it. We still have the 3rd meeting in the LEDA series coming up. High water is and shoreline issues are certainly going to be at or very near the top of the list of priorities to be addressed in the coming year. This has been the case the last couple of years. It's not changing anytime soon, it doesn't appear. Additionally, as we just sort of got into in the last discussion, housing is going to continue to be an issue. Certainly as we continue to look at what's going to happen with the Overton site, that's going to be a topic that we'll be spending a lot of time on in the coming year. Additionally, we include a summary of the Zoning Board of Appeals actions as well. That is not required, but we put that together to at least give you all a concise summary of what they've been doing in the past year. Just to go through another quick summary, the ZBA conducted 5 regular meetings, and I did notice I did not include in that summary the special meeting that was held in November. So 5 regulars, 1 special meeting was held. If you take a look at the items that they acted on, there were 2 applications for land use variances. One of those was referred to your body, and the other one was withdrawn. Now, the item that was brought to you folks was also withdrawn by the applicant. So neither of those 2 items were acted on this year. And then dimensional variances, there were 7 applications to the ZBA, and those 7 were approved. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about anything specific in the report. If you do, I'd be happy to try to answer it.
Anybody have any questions about the report? There's one thing I'd like added, Travis, is the fact that both Mike and myself were, and we still are, part of the Overton property review group. So the Planning Commission supplied 2 commissioners to that.
Yep, we can definitely add that in.
Okay. Well, unless anybody has any comments, I want to say thanks for putting our synopsis together. It's always interesting to look at how many hours we spent last year doing all those items. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Do you not want to do item 10, Tim?
No, I wanted the board to approve the report.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I make a motion that we accept the annual report as written.
I'll support. This is Todd.
I'd ask that as written with the addition of what I mentioned.
With the addition of the item concerning the Overton project and the involvement of the Planning Commission.
There you go.
Thank you, Tim.
Is there
Support. Yes.
Support by Todd. Okay. Any other discussion? Oh, were there any at large that wish to comment on the report? Okay, seeing none. Any other discussion from the commission? All right, we'll go to a vote. Marcia, please call the roll.
Heinrich,
Heinrich said thumbs up.
Yes.
Neese,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Licati,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Marnie,
Yes.
Gruber,
Yes.
Heinig,
Yes.
Stegman.
Yes. Okay, that moves us to new business item 10, commission member and staff comments. I'll start out with staff. Travis, I guess we'll go with you, and if Brad or Nick needs to chime in on anything, they can follow.
Yeah, I just want to first off, thank all of you for taking the time to go through the items that we put on here tonight. It's the kind of, I feel like my first planning commission meeting that I've sort of worked my way through. I know I was on the last one, but was more kind of on as a rider there. So I appreciate all of you, like I said, take the time to study this information and have the discussions that you had. Going forward, I'm not aware yet that a date has been set for the next LEA meeting, but I will be checking on that to see what the folks are thinking, Dr. Norton and his crew. I know we want to get something on folks' calendars pretty shortly here. So those are my comments.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Anybody else on staff? No. All right. I will just call out names as I see them on my screen. So I will start with Mr. Sleeper.
No comments tonight, Tim. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Heinig.
I've said enough. No more comments.
I think that's an REM song, isn't it? Ms. Nichols.
Just one. Happy birthday, George Sleeper.
You beat me.
Ah.
Very nice. Happy birthday, George.
I
Rosalie.
almost made it.
Happy, and you spent your birthday at a planning commission meeting. No, I just want to say I'm looking forward to next month and the short-term rental report. Yay.
I'm still digesting that one on the yay for short-term rental. Okay, sorry, Clark.
I just want to say a big shout out to staff. Excellent packet tonight with a lot of really good information. Didn't think we had much extra. And I appreciate the way the annual report, you had all the data there and you just did the summary. Thank you.
Yep, I agree. Janice?
I agree with Clark. It was really a great report you put together and made it easy for us to digest the information. Thank you.
Michael?
Yep, ditto to me. I hope I have expressed that to them often, but the work's been quite professional. Anytime that helps us to understand the complexities of the issues that we're dealing with, it really, really does help the city and helps us out a great deal. My only other two things very quickly is I do hope at some point we have a chance to look back at how we've spent our time and talk about how that activity actually focuses on results. Not just what we've done, but I know we are tasked as the Planning Commission with some separate goals in the master plan. And it might be nice to take a look at over the last year, how have we impacted our assigned goals on the master plan. And then lastly, just a personal thing. Thank you for the discussion tonight. That was a tough issue. I'm really proud of all of you. 5-4 decisions are quite interesting. We don't have them often on the Planning Commission. Please recognize that we look at the world through our own lenses. And I don't come from the world of government. And in my world, which is often dealing with strategic planning and long-term planning and visioning, relying on precedents is often a dangerous sign. But I do understand there's a difference between precedents as a concept and legal precedents. So thank you very much. And George, it's my mother's 95th birthday. So happy birthday, buddy.
Okay, Todd.
Yeah, Mike used a word that I had written down here, and that is precedence. I appreciate, particularly, I'm thinking about the waterfront, the lakefront issue, something that I think about that word a lot, precedence, and because we've done something before, we have to continue to do it. And that's sort of the antithesis of what planning is. It's not doing the same thing over and over. It's trying to figure out what the future looks like and trying to nudge this big community, all these people in the right direction. So I do appreciate, even though I was the dissenter on that, I do appreciate the professional advice that y'all get, that we get from our professional staff, and all of your reasonings. I don't question anybody's vote. I am going to, and I would encourage you, there is, the Eagle has not issued a permit for that project yet, and you can contact them online and make your feelings known, because they have a lot more leverage than we do. And thank you all for being here tonight.
Okay. With what Todd said, the right direction, I think the right direction is all relative on this commission. It could be different for some than others. With that said, we're headed into the new year, or we started the new year. And obviously at some point we're going to have to hold public hearings. And this is where these video meetings are going to be very difficult. And I'm hoping sooner rather than later we can stop with the video meetings, because I don't mind them for places that are a long way from me, but just about everybody I'm looking at on this screen is within 5 miles of me. And it just seems anticlimactic that we have to meet this way. And it's tough to conduct business this way, especially when you have to bring the public in. You know, it's fine for private businesses, but in this forum, it's just difficult. So anyway, my hope for the new year is that we don't have to continue to do this much longer. And with that, thank you to everybody for showing up this evening. I know it took a little bit for you guys to log in. Maybe next month we won't have to click the link. Maybe you'll have to put the code in manually. I don't know. That's the fun. That's what we'll find out next month. So with that, let's I'll entertain the motion to adjourn these proceedings.
This is Clark. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second, Rosalie.
Been moved and supported to adjourn. Any other discussion? Seeing none. Marcia, if you would, please call the roll for one last time this evening.
Barney,
Yes.
Gruber,
Yes.
Heinig,
Yes.
Heinrich,
Yes.
Neese,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Licati,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Stegman.
Yes. Okay, meeting's adjourned. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Happy birthday, George.
Thank you.
I'd buy you a cold one downtown, but we can't do that yet. So,
Tell your mom happy birthday, Michael.
thank you, George.
All right.